There's a passage in the Bible. I don't remember how exactly it goes, but it's like out of the mouth flow the desires of the heart type deal.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean?
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yeah.
That's
so. In that, what does that mean to you all? Or let me ask a different question. How does your language end up translating whatever your heart is, truly displaying?
I think it's just you have something. I know you got something. Go ahead.
So for me, the way I take that is that there obviously our hearts store all, symbolically all of our emotions, all of our feelings, and there's a lot there, right? At any given time. There's never once that it is truly empty, and I think that what we feed our psyche, what we feed our spirit, what we consume, through our eyes, through our ears, if it always is going to reflect when we speak, okay? Because let's say that you are always watching NASCAR, right? Just throwing something out there, right? You're always watching NASCAR. That's
Hell
your
yeah,
thing.
brother.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother. Yeah.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. Shake your bike.
Ricky Bobby. That's my favorite. Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
Man.
So if you're always watching NASCAR, right? Like that is your thing. There doesn't go a day there's not a day where you don't watch NASCAR, okay? Then you're always going to speak about NASCAR. Like you're always going to bring it up somehow. It's like, dang, yeah, you need some tires, brother. Oh, yeah, you should get them. The ones that they use on the Daytona cars, right? Or
we would do that. But
it's that King of the Hill. What's that? Boomhauer? I'll tell you what, man. This is good coffee.
Oh man, that's awesome.
You got it.
Anyways, so it's like if you what rests the majority in your heart is gonna come out, right? So let's say that also goes with feelings, right? So if you're a very joyful person, you're feeding yourself joy. Mm-hmm. Your outlook on life is a glass half full, right? Mm-hmm. Then that's what's gonna come out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. If you're a miserable individual, then that's what's gonna come out of your mouth because that's the way that you're perceiving the world, and that's the way that you choose to intake what you're perceiving, So if, I'm a miserable individual, I'll be like, damn, I'm out of coffee. Yeah. This stinks, right? Exactly. Or out of the fullness of my heart, because my heart is full of misery, sorrow, sadness, whatever. But if I'm joyful, I can be like, man, that was a really good cup of coffee. I enjoyed that, So it's the majority of what is resting in your heart, whatever you're feeding yourself, that's what's going to overflow, especially when we stub our toe and we're like, or we could be like, God bless it, or, out of the majority of your heart. When you go into auto mode, that's what comes out a lot, is what's
I thought
in
you
the
were about
majority
to say
of your
auto
heart.
zone. I was like, I didn't do do that.
I need me a new set of brake calipers, man.
Telling you, man.
I look at that, and that's one of my favorite scriptures. Like I don't know many, but that's one that I really cling to, because I look at it. It's a reflection. Like when you look in the mirror and you raise your right hand up, your reflection is going to do the exact same thing. You can't raise your right hand and your reflection is going to do the opposite. Yeah. And that's what I look at that scripture. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What is in your heart will be a reflection of what comes out of your mouth. And just like, so you were exactly what you were saying. If I'm a bitter person, I pay attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth. And that's just a reflection of what's really in my heart. It's a reflection. You can't be a joyous, positive energy, but then what's coming out of your mouth is like, NASCAR, like all this crazy stuff, right?
God damn it,
Can't stand them.
Can't stand them.
Let me drink my 12 beers and pace. I should probably stop doing that accent for negative contact.
You're actually quite good at it.
Exactly.
So I'm like,
my secret child.
He's done this before.
You have done this before. You're pretty good at this. But that's exactly what it is. Like I look at you guys with full of joy. Like, you guys have joy in your hearts because of what we can naturally do here. But if one of you were like a bitter person and you say like, "Oh yeah, I'm cool, I'm positive," but what's coming out of your mouth is negative. Like, no, you're negative actually.
Exactly.
Like you're like sucking away energy from the room.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be around that.
Yeah.
I
You
wouldn't.
can't say you're a pear tree when you're an apple tree. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like it's
Exactly.
the fruits that you give
Exactly.
show what type of tree you are.
There you
know,
go. There
what
you
you're
go.
producing.
Oh yeah. So have you guys ever been confronted by somebody that tells you like, hey, what you're saying, you want to go about projecting is not what you're projecting right now?
Oh yeah. My cousin actually did a really good job on it. My cousin and I are real close. My cousins and I are all real close. And when I was at the, I would say, peak of my career as a cop, I was just about to test for the SWAT team. My cousin had he and I had this conversation, and I don't remember what that conversation was about, but months later, after the test, after I got injured, he and I went to go grab dinner, and he referred back to that conversation that we had.
Yeah.
He's like, "Remember that? When we went to like B-Dubs or Buffalo Wild Wings, we were having dinner?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You were actually a really dark person." I was like, "Really?" Like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You just were really angry. But in my mind, I'm just telling this dude a story.
Yeah.
I'm just telling him about what happened. But he was like, you're really bitter
Yeah.
and hurt.
Yeah.
With a lot of darkness in your heart." And when he said that to me, I was like, you have darkness in your heart.
You don't know me.
Yeah.
You don't know
call
me.
out.
How
Yeah.
dare
You know what? You pay for this bill.
the audacity! I challenge you to a duel.
This dude is like on the accents today, bro. Oh my
Telling you,
god!
man.
It's like, I take my glove off and slap him with it. But yeah, my cousin Julian called me out on it, and then the first time I'd ever had to look at myself like, what? Like, I never saw me as that, but it was clearly in my heart, and it was being projected in ways that I didn't even see, but other people could see it. And he's like, I knew that wasn't you. I knew that wasn't you. Like, and I was like, wow. Like, I had
He knew that the darkness wasn't you.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I was like, pass the fries. I don't want to talk about this no more.
Exactly.
No, but
My eyes are kind of sweaty.
exactly. But it was true, man. Like, it really hit me for real. Like, I'm like, oh wow. Like, I need to think about that more. Like,
So was this
what
like
really was in my heart?
was this a work story? Like you were telling him a story like while you were out on the streets?
Now that I'm slowly remembering it, I was just kind of telling him like, oh yeah, these effing kids. Effing crazy or effing city, you know, like these
everything.
dirtbags are a piece of crap, and it was just a lot of that.
It's really
from what I
hard
remember.
for specifically police officers, but I think it's all first responders because they get to see the scum of the earth, you know, and they see all the bad. And sometimes they have nice stories, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you had your moments as a cop where you got to save
There were.
people and you got
But I don't
to
remember
embrace a
those
child
much.
or, you know, you got to lift somebody up from a terrible situation or help them or save them or whatnot. But most of the time,
It's bad.
you're hanging
Because
out
you're
with
also
some really
trained to
terrible
look
people.
for that.
Yeah.
You're not just in submerged deep, like in crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a bad neighborhood, but you're also trained to go look for the bad guys.
Yeah.
So like your reticular activating system is like zoned in on what is off and what do I need to go hunt.
We go back to what you feed your mind and your heart, right?
Yes.
Because like like you said, you were trained to look for things, and if you're always looking for a problem, you'll always find a problem.
Yes.
You know, if you're looking for a solution, you'll always find solutions. You know, so a lot of people they ask themselves, why am I in this particular situation? Instead of saying, how do I get out?
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you said it perfectly. You're looking for a problem or you're looking for a solution.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking for a problem on the streets, because this is my job, this
Yeah.
is what I'm paid
Yeah.
big bucks to do. I
Yeah.
risk my life. I trained. I do all this. And then what happens when you go home?
Ooh,
You're still in
yeah,
that. I'm looking for
and
a
how do you
problem.
turn that off?
Yeah.
Because you're basically programmed to do that.
Exactly.
You know how we were.
Yeah.
And you know how they say, like, I mean, I'm sure the program, the training is different now, but you know what they say what they were telling us, like, just don't take it home.
Yeah, and that's
Just
how
don't
you
take it
get.
home.
Just push the button.
Yeah.
Duh.
Don't take it home. Cool.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Yeah,
exactly.
Turn it off. Yeah, just don't take it home. I'm like,
Man.
No problem.
Didn't you know? Just turn it off.
Yeah. I still got this guy's blood on my shirt, and you don't want me to take it home? Yeah. Exactly.
It's
Oh my
like,
gosh.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's tough, man. So you never really get that separation of like the church and state, if you will.
No.
You know what I mean? So you are taking it home, and then, you know, the people that you're supposed to be loving on, 9 times out of 10, they're absorbing like the brunt of everything
Yes.
that you experience throughout the day.
Yes.
So
Because you got to process that darkness, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to get
Filtered out somehow.
Filter it out.
yeah.
And unfortunately, men, we don't have a lot of positive, ways to plug it out. Video
Yeah.
games, drinking, working out.
Yeah.
Like working out is a good thing,
Yeah.
but we can do it to an excessive point where it's like,
Rhabdo.
you're
Yeah.
just like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
But I think that we do that as a result of, if it seems like everything else is out of your control. This is the one thing that I can control. So I'm going to, go hard at it, or as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And then you end up leading yourself to, the rhabdo type situation. It's like, man, how did I get here? And yes, I was working out, but what led to me wanting to work out to the excess?
Yes.
Yes. And we don't really ever take that mental inventory to really evaluate everything that we've been through in the week coming up, and, maybe even years prior that led to why it is that I wanted to go about doing this to myself today.
Right.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of men, maybe not even men, but I think it's mostly shown in men how if there's an issue, most of us just shut down. We don't want to deal with the problem, or we're like, it's not a problem, and we're in some sort of denial, and then we just push it to the side, and we come home, we crack a beer open, we sit on the couch, and we watch TV, and don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't think about me, right? Give me some time to decompress, right?
Yeah.
Because I just want to forget, right? But it's important to. That's another. We come back to prayer. It's really important to not just for you to self-evaluate what's been going on through the week or that day or whatever, but also for you to release that and give it to God, right? To give those burdens, to give that weight and put it on Him, right? Because we're not supposed to carry that.
Yeah.
That's not our burden to carry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
We were actually just talking about it like a couple minutes ago. What happens is you build up and you create an idol for yourself. Your identity becomes your new idol. And that's what you start to worship. You create this, Angelo as a warrior, and Angelo as a provider. And that is the new identity and idol that we take, that takes precedence over what God is supposed to be in our lives.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's interesting.
It is, man. And I think that at times we're so good at compartmentalizing that it's counter-effective.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you're unable to go about talking about your feelings in, any situation outside of, a therapy session. So you're carrying all those issues that you've had with you for this past week or whatever it is up until your next therapy session, and never truly dealing with the issue up until you get there.
Yeah.
You talk about it, say, I feel 10 times better.
Yeah.
Then you go out and you experience the same thing over and over again. So how do you go about avoiding those kind of situations? What do you guys do for like self-help? Because I was told, whenever you have, just say daily, you write down in a journal. I always thought that it was, I don't want to say, what the word that's coming to mind, but it was flamboyant. We'll say that to go about journaling your feelings and such. But they said that that's actually very therapeutic. And then you can look back on, everything that you wrote down in your journal. And, man, why was I feeling like that? I was angry, that my daughter spilled my coffee or something like that, early in the morning. But that's supposed to be extremely therapeutic. Just putting your paper, your thoughts on the paper and such, getting them out as opposed to holding them in and feeling like there's nowhere else to turn. Like being able to just journal.
Yeah.
And it gets it out.
Yeah.
So now you feel 10 times better. But what do you all do?
I think that you look at Rambo's journal, like we were talking about last episode. Rambo's journal just has a bunch of tally marks. That's 20 bodies today. Oh, I feel good. You get a sticker for today.
You're a good noodle.
You're a good
Man.
And it's funny, man, but I actually do the same thing. Like, it's just, I need to get things out. I need to get things out. And my first outlet was working out. And then like now I look at working out not just as a try to be stronger or more less image, but it's more of it gives me peace. It's more of a mental thing now. So working out, reading, quiet time is really when I think the most effective way of letting go of what's on my mind. Quiet time and journaling, like those kind of go both hand in hand, because I don't want to have all these things in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I might forget. So it helps to get it out on paper and out of my mind. So then I can clear up the mental RAM to focus on things that are actually more effective, to focus on things that are the 80-20 in my life, the 20% that's getting 80% of the results. So the more time I have to actually go through my thoughts and whatever's on my heart. Maybe it's a scripture that I read that I want to go back to, or dive deeper into, or maybe there's a phone call I need to make. But these things that we should have done but didn't, it is checklists that's always growing until you start to just give yourself grace to just check off one or two at a time. That thing is going to keep growing. It's like sweeping stuff under the rug, right? As long as it's important and it's something that's, beneficial, then it's like you feel good after. You're like, okay, I'm getting stuff done. I'm being productive. So yeah, quiet time, journaling, all that stuff is super beneficial for me. What do you do?
I just call someone, to be honest. Like I have thankfully, thank God, otherwise than talking to him in prayer and stuff. But I call somebody. I'm usually calling my best friend Jose when I'm really upset about something, or just something's really bothering the crap out of me, or I'm having a tough time figuring something out. It just helps me to, like you said, get it all out, and then have someone to bounce off these echoes in my head, because when you're in your own head, right? Like for me personally, the quiet time doesn't work,
just that's more stressful.
Yeah, because then I'm in my head like, oh, she did this, and that guy at work, and the car, and whatever, it's just in my head echoing off, and then just like builds up, and I feel more tension. But for me to actually talk to somebody that I trust, and I can be like, this is what's going on, this is how I feel, blah blah blah, then I can have a trusted opinion of, okay, let's deal with that, or you deal with that because you're the problem right now. Like sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need someone to call you out and be like, no, this one's on you, buddy. Or the other, and just be like, yeah, I understand. Let's figure this out together,
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't even need to figure it out. Sometimes you just need to vent, and I've definitely been there where I'm just like, hey man, it's going to be a long conversation, and then just let it all out.
All right, let me go grab a beer real quick.
Yeah. It's just like I got some things on my chest, so and then the pacing starts. Yeah, exactly. I'm on the phone, I start pacing back and forth, and it's always in the same one wall to the other wall, one wall, and
exactly, man. And you just wonder like what people on the outside would be thinking of you as you're doing this. They see you and you're throwing your hands all around while you're on the phone. It's like, what is he doing? What is he experiencing right now? You know what I mean? Not knowing the true struggles.
Yeah. Yeah, but to go back off what you're saying, man, it's because you have that relationship with your friend. Like you've made those deposits beforehand. Yeah. So that, when it's time for these conversations and it's time to make that withdrawal, you've made enough deposits to justify that conversation. Exactly. It's not just like, hey, if you're just calling me because you need something, if you're just calling me because you need to make a withdrawal. Yeah.
You might as well go ahead and declare bankruptcy.
Yeah, that is it.
You no longer have an account at this bank.
Who are you? Oh, can I get some ID? I need a second form of ID. I don't know who you are.
Oh man, that's awesome. So as you just said, that relationship piece is key. Yeah. So I was wondering, as you were saying, you were talking to your buddy Jose, like, do you only talk to him like in those situations? Like, dog, I really need to talk to you. Yeah. And does he know? So as soon as he sees your name pop, it's like, oh fuck.
It's Sunday. The bank is closed, buddy.
Yeah, call back during business hours. No, Jose and I, we go way back. Like we go to high school. You know what I mean? So we used to, and we haven't done this in a long time, but we used to like call each other like almost every day. You know, and then you get married, you move states, and then you get kids, and then anyways. So we usually make time for each other at some which way or form.
That's cool. Is he a believer as well? Or?
He's not a believer, actually. He is a very rational individual, and I always tell him, if you ever become a believer, if you ever come to Christ, you're going to be like
dangerous.
Yes, because whatever he does, he has a ridiculous willpower and a ridiculous amount of discipline, right? Like if he says, okay, eating peas at 3 a.m. Is really good for you, he's gonna wake up at 3 a.m. every night, every morning to eat peas, right? Because, and so I was like, and he has this ability to just say, I'm gonna start doing this now, and doesn't matter who he has to cut off, it doesn't matter what he has to do, how he has to change his life, it's good for me, I'm gonna do it. And I'm just like, how do you do that? You know, like,
that's badass.
So I'm cool. I always tell him, if you become a believer, dude, you're gonna be an amazing tool for God. You know,
absolutely.
That's cool.
Let's see,
that's cool,
man. But really, just going about using those gifts that you were given, really.
Yeah,
I know that we've been talking about the spiritual gifts and such.
That's been a topic of our conversations the last week or so.
Yeah, man. So Angela gave me this website. I'm not sure if you had took the spiritual gifts.
I did, yeah.
What'd you end up getting?
Mine's was motivating and
janitor.
Hey, man, I'll take being a janitor in God's kingdom any day.
Yeah, absolutely.
The streets are clean anyways. They're made out of gold.
Easy, it's already clean.
I just got to babysit them, okay? Sucker. Joke's on you.
Yeah, job comes by as best.
I don't remember the rest, but I know that the biggest one of the biggest ones was motivating. Yeah,
man. I think for me, I forget the third one, and I think that we ended up sharing one.
Yeah.
So
it was my number one was encourager, and then my number two and three were tied at 95% with leadership and connector.
Yeah, man.
So I think your third one was
the encourager. Yeah, man. So then my first two were ministering and compassion. Yeah. So then we ended up sharing the encourager, and as we were having the conversation the other day, do you think that those truly fit? I was like, I can actually see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But learning how to operate in those spiritual gifts has been challenging. You know, because you can want the best for somebody, but up until they're willing to go about receiving whatever it is that you're trying to give them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we just, we touched on it before. It's like people are more, the fear of change is greater than the fear of staying the same. So we're comfortable, even if what we're doing right now is not in our spiritual gifts, it's more comfortable than trying to step into the unknown and find out, like, what is my spiritual gifts, and what if I don't know how to do it, or what if I'm not good at it, or, I mean, what if I just haven't honed it yet? You know, and that fear of stepping into that unknown is what keeps people from stepping into whatever they're supposed to step into. Yeah. I'd rather be here where it's kind of okay, it's good enough, and I'll just settle for good enough, because better, I do want it, but nah.
What if I fail?
What if I fail?
Yeah.
It's too risky.
Yeah.
Like, I got to leave my sweet spot here to go there. It's not that bad. It's okay, you know.
You miss 100% of the chances you don't take.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
That's the truth.
That what you were just saying reminds me of the dog on attack theory. Imagine there's a dog on attack, right? And it just sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there, and it's uncomfortable, but it's still sitting there, right? And until the dog feels enough pain, it's finally going to get up and move somewhere else. So either, you're extremely comfortable in your situation, which is, a jail in itself, comfort, or you finally experience enough pain in some aspect of your life that you get up and you realize, I need to change something. I need to move somewhere. And better my situation.
Absolutely.
Because then the unknown isn't so scary anymore because you have this real pain in your life at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's where men, we need the most. It's like we don't move until the pain is real.
Yeah.
When it's too bad, when it's too late, when it's too whatever of everything, then we'll take action because it's like, oh my gosh, how did I get here?
Exactly.
Well, you could have avoided this if you had just started moving sooner.
Exactly.
Rather than waiting till the pain is so real that you burnt your freaking hand or whatever.
Can we talk about that? Because I've actually seen myself there sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you like pain. You're one of those weird, like, you're like, yeah, bring it on.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I like it. No, but yeah, let's talk about that because sometimes I resonate with that, what you just said. Sometimes I see something and I'm like, I should do something about this, you know? Yeah. And then like the situation gets closer and I'm like, man, I really need to do something about that.
Yeah.
And then until it's there, I don't feel a fire under my ass to do anything. Exactly. And it's infuriating to me. Yeah. And I'm like, what is my problem? Like, why am I this way? Like I perform fairly well, you know, under pressure. But if like I have to plan something out to, I don't know, accomplish whatever, I'm not motivated or I find it disinteresting or I'm like, yeah, I'll do it later or what have you, you know?
I think it's very similar to the dog on the tax situation that you were just talking about, man. Up until you start feeling that discomfort.
That pressure.
Yeah, man. You're not going to move. You know what I mean? So you recognize it. I really need to go about doing something about that. That wall is bulging.
Yeah.
And then, you know, up until the leak is, you know, pouring out on the floor and says,
all right, game time.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Exactly.
I knew I should have done something about that.
Exactly.
But that's the thing, right? Like, you know, everyone loves the saying pressure builds diamonds.
Yeah.
But pressure also busts pipes. So it's a double-edged sword where it can be something that forms you into something better, something greater, something shiny like that diamond. Or if you have too much of it and it's not properly allocated, you can burst your pipes and you got a whole other problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like we wait till that we look at pressure like, oh yeah, this will make me better. But it's also like if you don't keep that in check, that pressure will burst.
Yeah.
And then, like, that's kind of like the downhill. Boom, boom, boom. And it's not like one or two things get affected. It affects so many more things. Because by that time, that is intertwined with so many other aspects in our lives that, like, it's just like boom, 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 like a domino effect type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And I also believe that God didn't create us to operate that way. Like, yeah, you know, if you have a good head on your shoulders and you've experienced, you know, plentiful pain in your life and you have life experience to react well, then that's great. You know, that's a good skill to have. But I don't think that God created us to work
Under pressure
and rushing. Rushing.
Well, I mean, that's why he made the Sabbath, right? Like, was to
it was
give
to
us
rest,
that
and then you know, to rest and worship Him, and to be with God in our thoughts, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think God created us to be rushing. You know, I think God created us so that we could plan things out and really think them out and take our time and do it well. You know what I mean? Because you make a lot of mistakes when you're rushing.
Yeah.
You make a lot of mistakes when you're under unnecessary pressure. Like you said, pressure bursts pipes. Well, pipes need pressure, but they need the right amount of pressure.
Ooh, there you go.
You know, they need the right environment. So I truly believe God didn't do that.
Yeah.
He
It's
created
definitely a
us
healthy balance for sure.
Absolutely.
to plan things out.
Yeah, man. But I think that's also where your community comes into play, right? Because your spiritual gifts are different than mine, right? As we already expressed. But if I'm ever going through one of those situations where I might not know what to do, oh man, I can just call Alfredo. He has an idea, you know. So I have a lot of pressure on my pipes right now, but then you go about alleviating some of that pressure by some of those spiritual gifts that you can go about exhibiting.
Right.
You know what I mean? So having that community, I feel, is important. And where we end up, you know, falling as, you know, just mankind in general, because, you know, you often hear women say, I don't have a lot of female friends. Like, well, why? You know, this is your community. You know, I end up having a lot more male friends. We end up thinking alike. Very well. Yeah. But then men end up saying the same thing. I barely have, you know, one or two good friends.
That's true.
That I can turn to.
That is so true. Yeah.
You know, so if everyone is saying this, who are you turning to in those situations where you are under extreme pressure or stress?
The self.
Exactly.
That's it.
And it's defeating.
It is.
Yeah, you know?
Because you're the one that got into the problem.
Exactly.
You think you're going to get yourself out of it?
Exactly.
You know? It's so interesting, man. Like, I love that you mentioned that, because that is, like, we've been talking about it all day. Relationships, community. And, you know, I said this to you earlier, but when you were sharing your story about how you handled that situation with your daughter, and you know, you caught them like at the train station and all that stuff.
King move.
Right. Alfredo and I were like, bro, that was a king ass move. Like, that was legit. You see, like, if I was in this season I am now, and then I got put into that situation, my daughter was older and stuff, I wouldn't have handled it as well as you did. And the beautiful piece of this all is because I'm connected with you, I have my eyes open to a better option. If you're not communing with other people, you're only limited to what your eyes can see. If you don't know what's possible, you're just going to operate on what you think is true. And it's just like the same thing with these kids in gangs in these impoverished neighborhoods. The reason why the gang life is so attractive is because it builds this community. And you know, you try to talk to this kid and you're like, you can get out of this. There's a better way to do this. But if he doesn't really see a legitimate better way, if no one is showing him, if no one is pouring into him, if no one is opening his eyes into a better possibility, a better option, he's just going to keep doing what he thinks is the best that he can do with that situation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to communicate and to connect with other men.
Yeah.
You know, like, whether you look at themselves, whether you see them as better or not, like, we're all the same. We all bleed the same. This is what my dad told me. He's like, whenever you guys get into fights, don't forget, you and him, you and the other guy, you bleed the same blood. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I may be
bleeding
positive.
a little bit more than I.
Yeah, I won't make him bleed more, Dad. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like, you fear no man because you guys are the same.
Yeah.
And if you know, you are a little bit further ahead in certain aspects in your life than me, great. Because now I can learn from someone who's been there. And you got to really check that ego. Because the more I can do this, like.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. But I think that you're selling yourself short when you say in that situation that you wouldn't have handled it the same. Because, you know, right now your daughter is young. True. You have a lot of stuff that you're going to end up going through leading up to, you know, that potential situation where the mental, physical, and spiritual growth is going to occur.
The character development.
You know, and so, just like in an anime, you know, you might be the weakest person right now. It's like, man, you know, I don't know if I can handle that situation, but over time, trust me, it'll be a lot easier.
Put me in a hyperbolic time chamber and see what happens.
Exactly.
Find out.
You know?
See what y'all know what's up?
Yeah, man.
Mess around and find out.
Yeah, man. Let's see.
But that's why you gotta surround yourself with other men.
Yeah.
You gotta surround yourself with other men.
Yeah, man.
Men that will sharpen you up. Iron sharpens iron, not steel or rubber or whatever, right? Maybe steel. I don't know. Does steel?
Oh,
I don't know, man. I might have to cut that part out. My understanding was only iron. Wood, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
But that is the value in relationships, and thus why we want to do an event. 2024, here we come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we come. What are you guys excited for this event that we're putting together?
I'm ready to see people's souls get broken.
Ooh,
honesty,
man. Man, I gotta write that down.
Yeah. Just, you know, the look of anguish on people's faces and whatnot. But then, you know, at the end, you know, that character development that will happen, you know, as a result of the shared hardship and then, you know, the brotherhood that results as well.
what are you going to look like afterwards? What are you going to look like when you come in, and what are you going to look like when you get out?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's kind of fun.
That's really cool.
That's
Absolutely. Man. What about you?
Same, man. You know, we it's been cool to hear all the feedback we've been getting from the podcast. The men and women that are enjoying it, that are being entertained and educated at the same time.
Yeah.
But I know the real work will come in when we're in person, when we're able to get amongst each other, because the energy and vibe is totally different. You know, you both have said this to me, and I've heard this from the feedback that your people are giving you guys of the podcast, as well as the feedback that my people are giving me on the podcast. It's the same line, which I think is so funny.
Yeah.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall. I wish I was a fly on the wall in that conversation. And I get where it's coming from. And I love that. I'm like, that's really cool that, you know, thank God we're being used to provide this kind of value that men want to be around and experience in person, thus the live event. But my problem with that is, why just be a fly on the wall? Get in the game. Get in the game. Because a fly on the wall is great to be around and listen, but that's not where change is going to come from. Change is going to come from when you set that ego aside and you put the masks away and you come in and really, I want to change. I don't like where my life is going. I may be okay with it. It's okay. It doesn't hurt that bad yet. But I know if I keep going down this path, it's going to hurt more. And that's where I feel like the change is really going to come, where we can come and intercept these men's lives at a certain critical point and influence them to change the trajectory of, I'm going downhill to let's go back uphill. Let's change now. Let's stop being a fly on the wall and be a participant in life.
Take actions.
Take actions.
Yeah, man.
You know, my sister used to be a cheerleader for the Chicago Bulls. And she got us these tickets, my brother and I, and Carlene. I think my dad was with us too. She got us all tickets to when LeBron was still in the Cavs and they came to the United Center.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's dope. I'm going to be able to see LeBron up close or LeBron live. So our seats were like in the 300 sections all the way up top. And I'm watching the game. I'm like, this is cool, you know, like kind of watching this top-down view. And then after the game, she takes us down courtside. We were able to walk around courtside. And I'm like looking, I'm like, wow, like the view here is different. Obviously, I'm floor side, courtside. The view here is different. Then I kind of look up, I look at the 300 section, like it totally looks different from up here. Down here, courtside, you're going to hear the chatter. You're going to hear the smack talking between the players. You're going to hear the heavy breathing. Yeah. You're going to hear the ball bouncing on the floor, the refs blowing their whistle, the coaches talking to the team during timeout. It's the same game, but a completely different experience.
Absolutely.
Same game.
Yeah.
Whether from the 300 level or from courtside.
Yeah.
Different experience. And that's what I liken to what we're trying to do with this event is you can watch from the 300 or you can get courtside and experience life differently.
That's nice.
And a chance to meet the players.
I'm LeBron James. No, but that's the truth, bro.
It is.
You can live life from the 300 or courtside. Life will continue with or without you. The game will continue with or without you. With and without you. The game of life continues.
Yeah.
You get to choose whether you want to live it from the 300 or you want to live it experiencing from courtside. I'm like, man. Like when she took us courtside, that hit me. And I'm like, man, I made like a post about it. And it was like, wow. Like just same game. That's the thing. Like, dude, it's the same game.
Yeah.
But a different perspective, a different point of view. We choose where we want to sit in life.
Absolutely.
But the fly on the wall is up to 300s.
Yeah.
We're calling men to courtside.
Exactly.
I thought you were gonna say to sit on my lap.
Oh, daddy. I don't know why.
Why you gotta pat your thighs like that? I'm calling men. Courtside.
Sorry. This dude did not hesitate. He was like, he was smiling and everything. I'm like,
I saw you, man.
I got
saw
excited.
a twinkle in your eye. I don't know.
I got excited.
I was about to get up. I was like, okay, cool.
Say no more.
Do we turn the camera off first? Or?
Oh, I love this dude. It's so funny, man. But that is the goal for this event. Like,
Yeah, man.
to be in these moments where they could be in this room where we're laughing, we're having fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's something else, man. It is something else. Out of all the projects and, you know, businesses I've been a part of and communities and groups, this is the one that just continues to tug at my soul. I think it's because this is the real first one that I've really just dedicated to Jesus. Like, God, this is you. This is your business. This is your movement. This is your company. We are just stewards of it. God, help me be the best steward I can be for this.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not to glorify Alfredo, Brian, myself, anybody else. Like, this is we're just trying to be a good steward,
Yeah, man.
and people will see. I mean, look how scary this is, right? Really think about this. We're three dudes that just started this podcast, and now we're thinking in less than a year we're going to do an event. I don't have any event experience. I've spoken, but not like I've never set one up to that magnitude. People will see as they listen and as they follow Operation Redwood the power of God and what He's going to do with this, and the fact that we're able to capture it and share it real time. Like, you can't tell me that God's not real after they see this.
Nah.
Like, you can continue to doubt, but just watch. But just watch.